physical damage is the way to go against Dark Elves if you're a Team Fortress player. So let me talk about the two main strategies that you see in this matchup. The first one for Dark Elves is called the Monster Void Monk strategy, and what this means is that you're going to put all of your items on your Void Monks. You're going to make 3 + 3 Void Monks. So every Void Monk's going to get a sword, it's going to get a soul gem, and it's going to get a helmet. And you get all your Void Monks on the board. You use soul bombs on the clumped Team Fortress units to get your Void Monks a lot of health. And then you say, okay, the Team Fortress player only has 2 Jiratis, but I have 3 Void Monks. So he can only use the Jiratis to kill 2 of them, and the one that's left over is just going to be so strong that with his splash damage, he's going to be able to hit and run, and the Team Fortress player is never going to be able to kill it. And so that's the Monster Void Monk strategy, and in the hands of a skilled player, especially one as skilled as Trip, it's extremely scary to play against. So my game plan coming out of the bat was, okay, he's got these 2 Void Monks. If I can get 1 Void Monk kill without having to use a Jirati, then that's going to shut down the Monster Void Monk strategy, because then if I can take one off the board, then he's only got 2 Void Monks, and I've got 2 Jiratis, and then we'll be fine. So I can also see here that he's hampered by a bad draw. Normally you don't put your Wraith on the board unless you absolutely have to, and the reason is because Wraith can be spawned from the corpse of any unit, and so it's better as like a surprise play later on, and so you like to keep it in your hand so you can use it for the surprise play. So I know the fact that he played it here means that he put these 2 Void Monks out as his first 2 units, and then with the 2 cards that he drew from these Void Monks, he didn't draw any more units, and so in order to keep his cards flowing, he had to put this Wraith on the board as well. And even he had to put the Soul Gem on the Wraith, which is another thing that lets me know that he's having trouble turning cards. If I were him, I probably would have put it on one of the Void Monks, but this is like a stylistic thing. So what I do is I just want to knock this Void Monk back, and the reason I want to do this is twofold. One, in this line here, it's going to be really good for this heavy, and so he's going to have to spend another move, like potentially moving this Void Monk back, in order to prevent my heavy from getting a lot of damage on. Additionally, if he doesn't heal this this Void Monk with a Priestess, then I know he's still struggling to draw healing units. And it's always good to learn how bad your opponent's hand is at any given time, if you're playing at an advanced level, because that will let you know what moves you can get away with and what moves you can't get away with. And so you can see the fact that he doesn't heal this Void Monk, he actually leaves it there, and then you can see he's kind of like haphazardly putting units on the board, means that he's scrambling to get a healer out. And so now I know, like, it's my time to strike, because I don't know how long it's going to take him to get a healer up, but I've got this window of time potentially where I can do a lot of damage. And so that's why I bring this heavy up. And I know that I've spread out my units here, so they're not clumped up. So using a Soul Bomb to save this Void Monk is going to be not that great for him, because he's not going to be able to increase the max HP of his units very high. The best Soul Bomb he could get is on these 3 units here, and 3 units will only provide about 20 HP buff on any of these guys, so it's not really that great. And even if he Soul Bombs, he's got all of these units are at low HP. And if he doesn't have a Priestess, then he's got no way to heal him up, so he's going to have to spend some potions. And additionally, there's no way for him to actually kill this heavy. Even with the scroll, he if he swords and scrolls one of these 2, he could do it. But then whatever, he could KO the heavy. But it's not that great of a move to scroll this early to only KO something, because I can just respawn it. So he's got a tough decision to make here. And he does the best thing that he can because he doesn't have any priestesses, I presume. And so he eats the Void Monk. And then he retreats the other one and potions here. But this is just a straight up loss for him because he's losing a unit for free. And now that I've gotten one Void Monk, I know that I can get the second with the heavy. So I'm like, okay, let's just totally take the Monster Void Monk strategy off the table from the beginning. I'll take out two Void Monks, and yeah, I know that this soldier is going to be exposed up here to this this Impaler, but I'll trade a soldier for a Void Monk any day. And so that's exactly what happens. But that's fine, because I've gotten two Void Monks and a potion out in exchange for just a soldier. So I'm at a big material lead right off the bat, and I've neutralized his most potent strategy. So now my goal is to lock down the board. Get a bunch of threats out on the board. I also want to turn cards to get to an engineer. But now that I've got this sniper on the attack tile, I've totally locked down this row. So anything that's in this row is going to be is going to take a lot of damage. I've also got this heavy out that's going to do AoE damage, so I'm setting up a bunch of threats, and that's how you want to play Team Fortress. You want to set up a bunch of threats. Let's see. What did I do? Oh, one of the little things that I did on this turn is I moved my heavy up here, and I attacked these three here. And so this killed the Phantom, but also put 100 points of damage onto this Necro. The reason I did that is because now he has to do something about this Necromancer, because if he doesn't block it, this Spot can come and go 1, 2, 3, kill it, and then stomp and retreat back to here. So he's it's just a little subtle thing, but I'm taking off that Phantom, and I'm also creating a threat here on that Necromancer. And so he has to bring this Impaler down to threaten the or to block the Necro, and also puts this Necro behind it. But he has drawn his first Priestess now. So I'm like, okay. I'm a little scared that he's going to take this Spy. But if he wants to trade for it, then it's not the end of the world. As long as he's the one that's initiating the trades. Since I've got a unit advantage, as long as we can trade even, it's okay. But honestly, if I were him, like, Spies are just super, super good, so I would have considered taking the trade, but he decides not to. And instead, he soul bombs this cluster of 5 units here. And 5 is pretty much the magic number. If you can get a soul bomb on 5 units, then that's pretty strong. He's also buffed up this Impaler here with the soul gem. So now it's got a lot of HP. It's going to be safe from this Pyro here, which is sandwiched on the defensive tile. I really like sandwiching Pyros on this tile. Because it's got the defense boost, it's safer from Impalers and from Void Monks. And it also covers most of the board. Because it can go 1, 2, 3, 4. So it can hit every unit in here, which is almost the entire board. So it's got a huge amount of map coverage, and it's very safe in my end. So on this map, putting a Pyro on this tile and sandwiching it, pretty much against any squad, is usually a really strong play. So I highly recommend taking advantage of that. So now he's threatened this this Pyro here with this Impaler. So I just bring the Spy in, and again, I'm just creating a bunch of threats, more units on the board, and this heavy is safe because it's got 1,000 HP. And unfortunately, I can't kill the Impaler because its HP is buffed above 900. The heavy from melee range does 200, 300, and then 400. It increases by 100 every shot. And so that's 900, but unfortunately this Impaler has more HP than 900 because of the Soul Bomb from earlier. So I need the Engineer to upgrade this heavy before I'm going to be able to take out this this Impaler. But there's no way for this Impaler to really assault this this heavy because I've got the two snipers here. And so if the Impaler wants to move down and take the heavy out, not only it can only KO the heavy and drag it to this square, and then in retaliation I'd be able to use the snipers to take out that that Impaler in 3 shots, and it would just be a trade for a buffed up Impaler for a respawn token. So instead he's gonna take out this soldier, which is the weak spot in my army. It's kind of a bummer to lose 2 300 magic damage units right off the bat, especially the soldiers that have the longest range. But I am able to develop my position, so it's not the end of the world, especially since in retaliation, my retaliation offense is to set up a really good offensive position with this heavy, and you can see these units are kind of clumped up, so the heavy is going to be able to do a lot of splash damage against these guys. And you can see he's poked my heavy down a little bit, but he's just playing conservative here. So now I finally have my Engineer. So now that I've kind of got him back, time is on my side as Team Fortress. The longer I stay in my shell, get my units upgraded, and adding threats to the board, the better it's going to be for me. So as long as he's in a defensive position, I'm going to be in a defensive position too, until my offensive force is really developed far. And you can see here he made this double sniper formation here is really sick. I'm able to get an Impaler totally for free because of that, and that's the power of the snipers locking down this whole row. You can see the synergy of Team Fortress working together. These snipers, since they're in the same row and since they're using the attack tile, they force all of the units out of this row, and now they're all clumped up over here and down this corner. And when they're clumped up, that makes the AoE units of Team Fortress better. So that's going to make this heavy stronger, and it's going to make this Demo Man stronger, and it's going to make this Pyro stronger. And so here is where I blow the game. There's just no other way to say it. I'm in an amazing position right now. Like, if I play this game out and we just play evenly the rest of the way, I'm going to win. Guaranteed. As long as I don't do anything really dumb. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I see this opportunity to blow the game wide open. And it's just a little, it's just a little risky. But I'm like, yeah. The worst case scenario isn't so bad. And so what I'm doing here is I'm going to say, okay, this Wraith is scary. If I take out his Priestess here, like this, then he needs both a Scroll and he needs a Soul Bomb in order to save the Wraith and to kill my Pyro. And even if he uses the Soul Bomb, that means that he's used both Soul Bombs. He'll only have 2 Priestesses left. And if I can kill one of those Priestesses, then I'm going to be able to, take out all his healers. He's not going to have any healing left. The thing I didn't account for is just how scary this Wraith is going to get. And additionally, I lose this Pyro, and this Pyro is now the 3rd high magic damage unit that I've given away, because I've given away both my soldiers already. And I've given up my sandwich too, so I had like this amazing board control that I'm giving up to take a gamble. And I should have thought about this move a lot more, because there's no need to take this risk. I was in a good enough position with just the threat of this pyro being able to take out any specific unit at any point in the board, because I could take out any unit that ventures like on my half of the board, combined with a Gerati, like any unit's going to die in one shot from this pyro. But I got greedy. I wanted to blow the game wide open. And so, from a strategic perspective, I think this is really where I went wrong. I should have looked at what I had taken off the board. And what I had taken off the board was the Void Monks. There's only one Void Monk left. And so the biggest way that impacts the strategy of the game is there's very little area of effect damage left. There's only one unit that can do area effect damage left on the board. And if I use my Pyro to take that unit out, then what does that make strong? That makes strong my Demo Men. Because double-linked Demo Men are insane. And the only way to counter double-linked Demo Man is by using Void Monks to do area of effect damage onto the medics. Well, if you don't have any Void Monks, you can't do it. So all I needed to do was stay back, heal up my Demo Man, get a buff on them, keep drawing until I had my second medic out, and then link up my Demo Man and say, bring it. Because if any attempt that he has to attack, or any attempt he makes to attack, is going to attack into the Pyro that's sandwiched on the defense tile, linked Demo Men that are going to do AoE damage, and if they're double linked and max buff, then it's 585 damage. Into two snipers, into a heavy, into spies, it's going to be virtually impossible to attack into. So my advantage is just in sitting there and waiting and continuing to buff. But instead, I give up my biggest threat on the board to take a gamble. And it puts me farther away from my end game, not closer to it. And additionally, it ends up creating this Wraith that gets out of control from me really, really quickly. And all of a sudden, I'm forced into a lot of bad trades. And so you can see I pre-jar it. As soon as that sword gets on there, I know it's like, okay, need to pre-jar this immediately. So let's talk about some of the math here. Because this setup was a little crazy. So I've got this Wraith that is insane, and I need to force it to die. But I know Trip isn't going to make any mistakes, so I have to cover all my bases. So I basically have to look at every tile in front of here, like this entire area, and make sure that if the Wraith sits on any of those tiles, that I will be able to kill it. And so how am I going to do that? Well, one, if he's on any tile in here, then my spies will kill it. Okay, so that covers this area. Now if he's here, my engineer can hit it, and then I can use the second Gerati on it, and hit it again, and then stomp it. I was willing to use both Geratis in this Wraith to take it off the board. So this tile's no good. With this heavy here, this tile's not safe because I can move the heavy up here. This tile's safe, however. So that's the only tile that's safe. This tile isn't safe because of the spy either. Nor is this one because of the spy. So what does he do? He frees up this tile by scroll killing my heavy. And this also brings up the Wraith to its maximum buffness. So now I need to create a threat for this tile again, because otherwise this Wraith is going to come here, he's going to run up here, he's going to put 3 hits on my spy, or 2 hits, and then eat him, and then run away, and I'm just going to lose. So I've got to come up with some way to get him off this tile, because otherwise my units are just going to die. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to link up this this engineer, and this engineer now does 390 damage when it's linked. And that way, if he eats this spy, then I'm going to be able to move him onto this square, move up, attack twice, and it will die, and then I can stop. So now this engineer is my best friend, because this linked engineer can move here, and here, and here. I'd have to shuffle my units around a little bit, of course. And so that means that I'm going to zone him out of this whole area. And this spot is covered by the double Girardi from the engineer itself. So the engineer is now zoning him out of this whole area. Spy zones him out of this square. Sniper zoning him out of this square. So there's only one square on the board, other than like his back tile. There's only one tile on the board that his Wraith is safe, and that's this tile. And so you can see, Trip's not stupid. He eats my scout, and he moves to this tile. But I put the scout here in order to block for this spy, because I needed to turn cards. I really needed the pyro. That would have been ideal. The best way to deal with this Wraith is to get another upgraded pyro onto this defense tile, and then sandwich it, and then that will just zone everything out and problem solve. But I don't have my pyro. I didn't even have my sandwich. So it's a little bit unlucky with my hand that I didn't have the items that were best suited to taking it off. But I created my own problems by taking the gamble in the first place. So now I need to lock down this tile. And so what I do, I bring the sniper down. And so now the sniper's going to be cutting off this tile. I've got the heavy here. And then I also heal up this spy. It's above 600, so this spy can't die in one hit. And now I'm safe from the Wraith. I've covered all the tiles, and so now the Wraith can't expose itself anymore. So now he's going to put units in front of the Wraith. So now I've zoned out the entire map, so now it's time for the Void Monk to get in the game. And this is another interesting decision that I made, because I could have actually stomped this. I could stomp this Void Monk for free. Could have come up here, and I could have. I hit the Void Monk 3 times, and instead of stomping this Void Monk with the engineer and then moving it back, I chose to move the scout up here, and I think I kind of let him off the hook here, because he's able to move both of his Wraith and his Void Monk back. And the rationale for that move at the time was, if I lose this engineer, I'm going to lose my best threat against the Wraith. Because this engineer was like zoning out, like all this area. And not only do I lose my best threat against the Wraith, I lose my second best threat against the Wraith. My second best threat against the Wraith is this engineer. And if I lose this engineer, I can't upgrade this engineer. But I still think that it would have been better to sack this engineer, because what I learned later on is it just would have made my links, my medic links, so much better. I think it would have been worth it. But instead, I force him back, and I gain a really strong board position here. I got both my medics now. I got one on the attack tile even. I've got a an engineer that is linked and very far forward. His wraith's on the back line. And now we've switched over to the other thing here. So really what I wanted to do is I wanted to set up this heavy to trade against some of these units. These units were buffed up from the Soul Bomb earlier. And so they all have like tons of HP, because normally 4 shots from a heavy would take out an unbuffed Dark Elf unit. But these units have been they've had their HP buffed so much that it's just ridiculous. And so there's 2 big objectives from this. One is to take some of these souped up units off the board, and the second one is to force him to use his potion on something other than this Wraith. Because if we go back, this Wraith has 1395 HP. If the potion goes off on that Wraith, its max HP goes up to 1445. And that actually puts it above a few thresholds. I believe, what's up browser? I forget exactly which thresholds it went over, but I believe it was the double Girardi option. So it was like 2. Hold on, I can do this math. Since I'm talking about it, I might as well figure out exactly what I was talking about. But basically, if he puts a potion on that Wraith, it's going to end up being a lot harder to kill. And as long as I can make it put it on something else, then that Wraith will be less threatening. So 260 times 2.75 plus 260 times 2.75. Yeah, so the 260 damage physical damage unit, with 2 Giradis of the 260 damage physical damage unit, does a total of 1430 damage, and 1445 is higher than 1430, but 1395, which is the non-potion HP of the Wraith, is below that. So if he potions the Wraith, then I now have to kill it with a leaked engineer or a linked spy or a sniper or something else. It's much more difficult. The math becomes more challenging. So I actually achieved that objective, and so now I have another interesting decision to make here. There's 2 options that I can play here. I can do what I did. The other option is to bring the engineer up and hit this Necro twice, stomp it, and hit this Impaler, and stomp it, and then I would respawn the heavy. And the reason that I didn't do this is pretty much the same as why I didn't stomp the Void Monk originally with the engineer, is because I was still so afraid of this Wraith that I needed this. I wanted the threat of 2 upgraded engineers to fight against it. And so instead, I buff the, or I move up and I heal the heavy, and then I do some more damage. And this allows me to instead, he saves his Impaler, but I do get the Void Monk instead, and in exchange for the heavy. In my estimation at the time, it was trading up in terms of in terms of the value, because now my medic links become really strong, because now the last Void Monk's off the board. And so now I'm thinking, okay, if I just retreat up, buff the heck out of this this demo man here, and then do double link demo man, which is always my game plan from the very start. If I just retreat through my shell and then double link him, he's never gonna be able to attack into me. And I got a little too complacent here because he does this move, and this move, as soon as he did this move, I was just like, oh no, I have made a grave error, because this is like a really strong play. He's blocking the Wraith here with the Necro, and he's using these dumb Phantoms to guard the other avenues of attack. And I can't really attack with this Demo Man to clear everything out, because then it'll pop the Jurati on the Wraith, and it'll end up wasting the Jurati. He's also safe from the Sniper because he's got this got the Necro in front, and he's threatening my Spy here with the Sandwich, and this sandwiched Spy is zoning out everything. The Sandwich Spy is doing what the Engineer was doing earlier, because now the Sandwich Spy represents my double Jurati option on the Wraith. Because remember I said earlier, 260 times 2.75 times 2 is a dead Wraith. So if this Spy has direct access to this Wraith anywhere in melee range in this whole area, then the Wraith dies to two Juratis. And so the only way he can now attack with the Wraith is to put units in front, which is exactly what he does. And I have to keep this Spy alive, because this Spy, if I lose this Spy, then what's going to kill the Wraith? I've got like no way to threaten like these corners, and he's going to pick me apart. So I do the only thing I can, and I move this Engineer up, and I have to sacrifice this Engineer to kill this Necro, because otherwise I just have to throw units onto this square to block the Wraith from being able to have access to the Spy. And now we start trading like crazy. And actually, this is another big mistake here. I'm not sure if I had an alternative, but I moved this Spy in front, and I didn't realize that I thought that this would actually be safe for the Spy. I didn't think he would actually be able to come and kill it without giving up the Wraith, because I thought he'd have to move the Impaler, but instead he's actually he stomped with the Phantoms, which I forgot to consider. So I probably want to go back and see if I had an alternative there. I may not have had an alternative to that play, but I thought that the Spy was safe, and it was not. But you see now I've traded the Spy for the Impaler, and we're still trading 1 for 1, so it's like okay, it's a little uncomfortable, but he only has, I mean, he's got 5 units left. These are the only units he's got left. Another move that I did here that was pretty big is I decided to jar snipe the Impaler here. I had to get rid of this Impaler. Because otherwise it can sacrifice itself to kill this Spy from this position. And that would be a problem for me. I got to keep the Spy alive still. And I'm thinking, if I can take a lot of units off the board, this last Spy is going to become a lot better, because he's not going to have any more units to cover the backsides of these units. I mean, if I jar snipe this Impaler, then he's only got 4 units left. And then this spy is going to become really good. It's going to be able to run around. Doesn't want the sandwich anymore. And I set up this right here, and at this point I honestly had thought I had won the game, because he's got this Wraith up here, and I'm like, you can no longer attack into this. I have finally achieved my end game, and my end game is the double linked Demo Man. If he tries to, anywhere he tries to take this spy off the board, he's going to lose the Wraith. But I kind of underestimated the power of that remaining Necromancer. Once it got helmed, it just became too strong. Even though I had like way more units than him, I was never able to bring it down the board. So you can see he's got the Wraith up there in that corner, but I can double link and move up and then take it out. Interestingly enough, had this Necromancer been helmed, I would have actually won the game right here. Now, if the Necromancer had been helmed, then I'm sure Trip wouldn't have made this trade. But with the double link Demo Man, I can actually two-shot this this Necromancer. And had I actually been able to three-shot it, had it been able to survive for 3 shots, it would have actually killed both of these priestesses. And the Wraith as well. It would have actually just KO'd all his units. Because a double-linked Demo Man does 585 per shot. Which is ridiculous. But unfortunately, if I play it that way, then he just heals. It would take the Durati off the Wraith, and all he has to do is like run the Wraith back, and then and heal it up, and it would just be completely unkillable without any Durati. I only had magic damage units left, and the Wraith has 30% magic resist. Like it wasn't an option to try and nuke his healers, because even if I nuked his healers, like the Wraith, even without healers, could have taken my entire army by that point. And so now he makes the aggressive play of bringing this Necro up. I do still have a chance. Like if I can either get like double link on the Engineer, or I can link the upgraded Pyro, then there's like if I can avoid taking too much damage, and it's like theoretically possible that I could get a defense up and win from there, like especially if I can take out one of these healers, because he's got no soul bombs. But he played too well, and was able to close it out from there. And this Necro was able to survive. It would take 3 linked Pyro hits to bring it down. And with the range advantage and the sword on it, it was just the math was just too stacked against me, and he was able to just clean me up from there. Yeah, the key error. Well, I'm not sure if taking the Void Monk off the board here would have changed it too much, because I kind of ended up getting what I wanted out of it, and I took him off the board. So I'm not sure how much of a difference that would have made. It's hard to say. But if I were to look at like moves that I would want to do over again, this move here, where I just retreated, I didn't realize he had such a strong follow-up to that. I would definitely look at this move again and see if there's a better way that I could play that out. Because I was really passive, like especially if I just like upgraded this back engineer, it could have made a huge difference later on. And then the big one though was just the move I made with this stupid pyro. I took a risk when I was ahead. I didn't need to. He had the perfect card combination to shut me down, and that really gave him an opening and turned the Wraith into the monster that it ended up becoming. And I started creating my own problems with that Wraith play. If I had just played patiently and let the game come to me with the lead that I had gotten from taking his 2 Void Monks off the board, I would have been in smooth sailing for the rest of the game. So that was a strategic error by me. It is kind of good, I guess, to get to a point where it's your strategic errors that are killing you instead of just like making mistakes as far as like unexpected things happening to you. But I feel like I really let this one slip away from the early game advantage that I gained from some nice plays with the heavy, and I also had a draw advantage because he had a really bad opening draw. Okay, that wraps it up for